And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host for this evening, Mr. Bernard Furshpan.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. And welcome. This feels like a family reunion, doesn't it? But unfortunately, my family doesn't dress this well. It's very exciting to be here tonight. And I want to thank all of you for joining me in a very beautiful evening, the 12th of May, Tuesday, 2015, in our celebration we call This Is Your Night in the capital, or the world capital of cabaret, the Metropolitan Room in New York City. I'm Bernard Furshpan, and I am thrilled to be sharing this evening with you. Please indulge me in using my glasses and reading some notes. As managing partner and host of This Is Your Night, with the help of family and friends, we'll be honoring an extraordinary individual tonight. This Is Your Night is based on a classic premise and profiles a guest honoree who has contributed in a significant way to the New York City entertainment scene. They're the behind-the-scenes maestros, the producers, the teachers, the photographers, the writers, the promoters. Without them, the artists we love and admire wouldn't have the opportunities to perfect their craft. These unsung enablers of great talent get their long-awaited due right here at the Metropolitan Room. The selection process is made by recommendations from leaders in the entertainment industry. The honoree receives a gift from the Metropolitan Room in recognition of their tireless dedication and hard work. The tribute features a lineup of entertainment professionals, family and friends who share stories, song, and comedy about their experiences with the honoree. The first order of business tonight, I'd like to acknowledge our alumni of honorees who are here with us this evening. Marianne Lapinto, Alice Fennell, Mr. Peter Levy, Kitty Scrabella, Joseph Macchia, Bobby Horowitz, and Mr. David Kenny. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're saluting an individual with the most impressive record of personal and professional contributions to the entertainment scene. This is your night. Russ Weatherford. Perfect. We'll start with the first slide. Russ is the youngest of 5 siblings born to Maisie and Russell Weatherford on August 2nd, 1946. He shares his birthday with his father, a couple of sisters, and a nephew. His sisters were named Jerry, Joe, Johnny, and Jackie. He was named Rusty. Go figure. Rusty was raised in Union, South Carolina, a small textile town. He followed his sisters in school, and they were all major academic achievers, but Russ was always driven to find a stage to perform on. This to the dismay of his parents. Rusty's family was active in just about everything in his small town, and he often found himself at odds with his sisters. According to them, he was a handful. some things never change. When Russ first performed on stage, he got hooked, and he began his summer theater seasons in his parents' backyard. Russ forced all the neighborhood kids to participate, and this went on and on until high school. Thank goodness for the community theater that gave Russ a hell of a lot less resistance. He graduated from Union High School, and both he and his best friend, Gene Willard, applied for summer entertainment jobs at beach resorts throughout the Southeast. They only got one offer, to work at a lunch counter in Myrtle Beach. They, of course, declined the offer. Russ attended the University of South Carolina, where he earned a BA in broadcast journalism. Although he spent all of his time doing theater, his parents refused to let him graduate with a diploma that contained the word theater in it. After all, they wanted him to get a real job. However, the fact was that Russ could not get off the stage and performed in shows from West Side Story to Beggar's Opera. Happiness for Russ was the roar of the crowd and the smell of the grease paint. That's right. He did theater when grease paint was still being used. After graduation, Russ enlisted in the U.S. Air Force and worked at the American Forces radio and TV station in Galena, Alaska. He took an existing 8-hour-a-day programming schedule and increased it to 20 hours a day. He also managed to create several live shows in which he starred with his canine partner, Frosty. Rusty and Frosty. It's catchy. His unit was awarded a presidential medal. During his tenure, the Vietnam War was raging, and the U.S. military TV station in Saigon was destroyed by friendly fire. Everyone in Russ's station was immediately transferred to Saigon, except Rusty and Frosty. For the next year, Rusty and Frosty ran the Alaska TV station on their own, 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. When Russ returned to the mainland, he was assigned to Warner Robins Air Force Base in Georgia. There he combined the community's little theater with the military theater. Over the next 3 years, he directed 15 plays, and because Russ couldn't get off the stage, he casted himself in many of these shows, from Butterflies Are Free to Tea and Sympathy. After completing his tour of duty with the Air Force, Russ was offered a scholarship and a master's degree and a teaching position in the theater department of the University of South Carolina. He produced shows from Country Wife to The Fantastics. The graduate program also included 2 summers of stock, where musicals were the bill of fare, from Boyfriend to Showboat. After receiving his master's in theater, Russ went off to New York City. He first worked at New York Times while becoming familiar with the New York City theater Black Box World. He was cast in a play directed by renowned choreographer Anna Sokolow. He starred in an adaptation of Heart of Darkness, where he had a taste of an artistic production. For those of you who don't know what an artistic production is, that means he performed in the nude. Russ accumulated about 40 years with the Actors Equity Association. He and several classmates from his graduate school days shared a space in the Upper West Side. One of those longtime friends, Benny Bartley, is with us tonight. Russ's partner in the late 70s was David Fowler. He passed away in 1991. I think we have to skip. There you go. Actually, go to the next one. Yep. Yeah, if you can go to the next one. There you go. Good. That's fantastic. You've seen Russ as major characters in soap operas, the likes of The Edge of Night, The Doctors, One Life to Live, and All My Children. He, actually, if you can, there it is, yep. Now, next slide. He and his castmate, Ruth Warwick, also known as Phoebe Tyler, won the illustrious Soap Bubble Boogie Dance Contest, earning him a lifelong relationship with Ruth and her most fascinating life. This association led to the production of his play And Babies Make Three, directed by Peter Miner. A very cherished moment for Russ was when he was joined by his father in the opening night party. Ruth Warwick recognized Russ's untapped talents and suggested that he put more effort in directing and teaching. As a result, Russ directed several off-Broadway shows, including Hedda Gabler and Taken in Marriage. His acting classes became very popular, and he retreated from the world of soaps to focus on his desire to find the language of storytelling. Dean Regan was his first teaching assistant. Dean and husband Frank flew in from California to share this wonderful evening with us. Thank you. Russ used the soap opera format as his teaching process. He worked with Harding LeMay, one of the most prolific writers in soap opera history. Together they created The Ties That Bind, a class-produced soap opera which aired on public television. This was the first in a series that allowed the actor to take control of their own destiny. His play, September Spring, included in its cast the well-known ABC casting director, Marilyn Henry. Also in the cast of September Spring were Craig Austin Hoffmeyer and Dean Regan, who have worked on many projects with Russ over the years. Okay. Maria Coburn. Yeah.
In my soap opera Ties That Bind, I didn't know she was coming tonight.
Oh.
Aaron Dett is here.
Oh.
And Craig.
Yes. Actually, I think I say that here. Hi, how are you? Thank you. Thank you for being. Maria Coburn that's Maria Coburn over there, began studying with Russ in 1982. 1982. That's how many years is that? That's over 30, right? She has been an advocate of Russ's techniques and has been a dear friend ever since. Valerie Toth Grant, who presently lives in Austin, Texas, also became a teaching fellow of Russ's and taught his techniques in California and Florida. Valerie, Austin, Dan, and Maria have joined us this evening in honoring Russ. In 1986, Russ was hired by Variety Production out of Dallas, Texas, as Senior Vice President of Production and was allowed to use his techniques and his patented scoring sheet for a new film, Lila McGuire, starring Ruth Warwick. During his period in Dallas, Russ also directed Bob's Hope College Tour. Did you know that? Unfortunately, the crash of 1987 prevented the film Lila McGuire from being realized. But Russ was invited to Los Angeles to continue teaching his technique and to develop the science of storytelling. He produced the film Winner Kills All, which became a blueprint and teaching instrument for future productions using what is now known as the Weatherford technique. This would lead to Russ's brainchild, Director Vision, the ultimate film school. It's a software program guiding writers to think like directors. Amazing. Russ wrote scripts for his soap opera creation, Secrets. With his students, he recorded the show at the United Artists Cable Facility on its own exclusive soundstage in Hollywood. Secrets grew in scope, and the Weatherford Group was born. For 3 years, a loyal audience watched the show on LA cable TV and around the world. Secrets was awarded the prestigious Clio Award for Production Excellence. Russ published his first book, Confidence and Clarity, the only book ever written about the art and technique of learning lines and the use of the French scene as the basic building block of storytelling. Following the LA riots, Russ returned back to New York City and began to compile his thoughts on the science of acting. He used the Weatherford technique, which the theater company, the Actors Circle. He taught actors how to use their healing performance energy by using his Road to Make-Believe technique. Russ wrote and directed A Shadow Called Home, Perchance to Dream, Death of a Butterfly, all of which allowed actors to create their own circumstances. This is very different from what's out there. He also wrote the award-winning independent film Boulevard Cafe. I bet you didn't know that Vice President Al Gore's wife, Tipper Gore, invited Russ to produce his work, Eleanor and Alice, in Washington, D.C. In 1996, Russ met the love of his life, Eric Rudy. Rudy. Together, they've created a loving and exciting life together. With Eric's remarkable design and acting skills, Russ and Eric created and developed a TV pilot for children, Rudy and Maisie's Place. Eric created the role of the wise old owl. There he is. Eric and Russ have lived a fascinating life. Yeah. Who's that? Oh, just kidding. Oh, there you go. Hey, Karen. Hey. Welcome. Eric and Russ lived a fascinating life, traveling the world, especially they loved London. Isn't that right? You love London. That's great. They have shared great friendships and adventures, including the likes of Craig Austin, Ed Wermond, Bruce Valanche, Michael Shannon Quilty. All four are joining us here tonight. Russ and Eric have been supported by Eric's mom, Ethel, and his late father, Walter. Ethel flew in from Bradenton, Florida, to be with us this evening. Thank you, Ethel. I think half the room, people have traveled. Also joining us are his sister, Kim, brother-in-law, Brett, and their two daughters, Jenna and Bryn. Thank you for coming. The film, Going to the Chapel, produced by Stephen Downey, led to a lasting friendship with Steve and K.T. Sullivan. Eric created gowns for K.T., and with their encouragement, pushed Russ to take up photography as a hobby. Russ is truly a brilliant and creative mind. He developed a theme world, an adventure-filled mystery and intrigue with helicopters and motorcades for the Dominican Republic. And the creativity continues. Together with his writing partner, Carolyn Kennedy, Russ created the TV series Willie Gillis, An American Soldier. Russ wrote a play for Eric called Blacker, which was inspired by a story about Oscar Wilde and the Dreyfus Affair. Russ would love to see this play realized one day. The love between Russ and Eric was the driving force in the creation of The Road to Make-Believe, a complete glossary for success in the business of acting. The Reality of Make-Believe, everything you wanted to know about acting without spending 30 years to realize you made a wrong career choice. Gracious Living Information Guide, how to clutter-free your life with health and happiness. And a novel, The Globe Hunter in Search of Shakespeare. And one more thing, the compilation of Russ's efforts with his book, Storytelling, Using the Psychological Reality of Talent to Change the World. Beautiful. Through the lens of his camera, Russ has documented hundreds of cabaret shows and events over the years. What sets Russ apart is that his focus has always been in the capturing of the friendships, the smiles, the love between those in the business, as well as the great moments in live entertainment. Thank you, Russ. Over the years, Russ has enjoyed the love and support of his family. His two survivings are with us here tonight, Johnny Weatherford Smith from Charlotte, North Carolina, and Jackie Flippin from Holden Beach, North Carolina. Joining them are his nieces, Lee Christie and Mary Jo. Eric and Russ were married on September 3rd, 2011. They have shared 19 glorious years of their lives together. My favorite photo of both Russ and Eric was taken on January 4th at 6 o'clock in the morning, right here at the Metropolitan Room, as we were closing the Guinness World Record attempt for the longest variety show ever, and they've contributed to the success of this record breaker. Thank you. Russ told me something special that I'd like to share with all of you. Years back, Russ told Eric that they couldn't start a relationship because of their age difference. He said, "One day you'll want to leave me because I'm old." Eric responded, "I will never leave you." And as all of us know, he never will. And on that note, let's celebrate and honor Russ. We'd like to honor Russ's contribution to our community with a really, really big show. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, we might be here a couple of nights. So I'm changing the name of the show to These Are Your Nights, Russ Weatherford. On the piano is our musical director, Ian Herman. On lights and sound, our technical director, Jean-Pierre Perrault. And our video producer, who doubles as my son once in a while, is Jonathan Furshpan.